Here we are. Question 3 from our summer around the poolside chat. I'm sure that you'll put some pool action around us. I'm very excited about pools. We were talking in the last session about bonuses versus commission, and one of the big issues of all of those things is different markets with different fees and average fee value. And we know that in every market, I mean, it's pretty much every market, apart from sort of the low values or the FMCG, stack it high, sell it cheap markets, your recruiters will, on average, when all said and done, adding heads versus your experienced heads, it's a deal and a half. It's a deal and a half, it's a deal and a half, it's a deal and a half. If your average deal value is 20 grand, you're doing 30s. If your average deal value is 8 grand, you're doing 12s. So, Dean, how do you adjust for this, given you might have teams working in the US where their average deal value is going to be 30, 40 grand, and for the same people working in Europe, it might be 17 grand, and in the UK it might be 10, 12. How do you pay for that?
I think you've got to balance it more on not just in terms of what percentage you're paying on those fees and in terms of the deal value, because if you're talking about in country, in America, you're paying more on a basic salary on average. You're paying more in emoluments. The litigious nature of the whole environment there means that you're going to have to be more on board with having your legals right, and everything else has got to be super belts and braces. So I think the actual cost to your business is quite high. And yes, it's great to be there and whatever else, but then it's also easier to do business there. So not only are you getting
no competition, right?
Well, for British recruiters, no competitions, because the Americans don't really offer any competition in that space, right? They don't recruit like we recruit. But I also think that relationship's nicer. The American business understands recruitment. They understand it's a professional service. They understand what they want. They will form relationships. They will give good specifications. They will spend time nurturing those relationships without worrying about HR or internal recruiters or whatever else, because they realize to grow any business, you need good talent. And the better your people and the faster you are to the punch, a few percent here or there is never going to counter what you're going to make from a good individual, right? So I think they get it. So it's quite a nice market. So I think you do need to look at the amount of deals that they do. And going back to one of the other videos that we did, and you talked about bonuses versus commission, this is definitely where the bonuses would work well. You know, making sure that they got that incremental growth, that compounding growth, that they got momentum, and they were always plus net gain. They were always growing. And I think you've got to balance that for different geographies.
Brother, let me just chuck in there. In the US markets at the moment, they will love to see 7, 8, 10 CVs or interviews for every role. Oh, good. So there's quite a lot of effort that goes. Yeah, there's quite a lot of effort that goes into that process. Also, the clients will talk to you about literally anything, and deciphering what is a real opportunity versus spoof is hard work. Do you think that counterbalances the rate of pay or not?
I don't, and the reason being is if you're a recruiter worth his salt or her salt, then if you can't qualify a vacancy properly and you start prioritizing working BC vacancies, then you're not a recruiter worth salt. You're not worth paying a decent amount of money. You know, that's your job. A client that gives you too much information is far better than a client that gives you less information, because you can stack that up. And a lot of the time, clients tell you what they want, but you know what they need. And you get that when you extrapolate all that information and you put it down. So I get that. I think the American system is different. Like you said, they might want you to chuck 30 CVs. Over here, we're much more refined. We've been doing it a long time. They want a maximum of 3 CVs. They want top, bottom, and middle. And you kind of balance it in that way. A bit like about the estate agents, location. Show them this one, show them that one. Here's the one you're going to buy. It's a bit different out there. And I think that's because they've got this work ethic where they want everybody to have worked really hard for the deal. And so I think that part of it, you can process, you can create a process, you can have those standard operating procedures to ensure that they get more CVs, that they get, but you know as a great recruiter who they're going to hire. right? You should have that down to that 1 or 2 they're going to hire. They're either going to hire him or her, and it will come down to what I say. And that's the job as a recruiter. Now, if you're not doing that in the UK or Europe or America, you're not worth your salt. You can go and sit on delivery, you can go and resource, you can go and do this. But if I've got a recruiter that I'm going to pay serious money to, they better be spot on with those things.
I love that. I also love the idea of this being that whole bonus led, how many deals you do, fulfillment, and what does it cost to do those deals. That'd be special. Mate, as ever, you always nail it. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Will do.